What the fuck? Taking a lot of liberties with the Israeli injury statistics. Felix just retweeted this. 21 Israel police officers injured, 1 Hamas commander killed, 26 Palestinians killed, 103 wounded in the Gaza Strip, 3 Israeli civilians killed, more than 90 Israeli civilians injured, including 13 suffering from anxiety. Fuck, dude. IDF tweeted this as well, said to the citizens of Gaza, the IDF is striking Hamas weapons stores hidden inside civilian buildings in Gaza. Although Hamas wants you to put you in harm's way, we urge you to stay away from Hamas weapon sites to get to safety. Our only goal is to strike terror. Like, this is an admission. Like, this is literally a fucking admission, dude. We're just gonna keep fucking bombing you. We know that you're in those buildings. We don't give a fuck. Just get out of the fucking buildings, forehead. Sorry. It is what it is. Here's the article from JP, the Jerusalem Post. Sanders must apologize for the lie that he spread about Israel. The Israeli minister demands apology from the U.S. Presidential candidate. Shut the fuck up. Are you serious? Sanders has spread horrible lies against the state of Israel, and he needs to apologize as soon as possible. We cannot interfere in the internal elections of the United States, but when there is libelous misinformation being spread against Israel, we need to react and stand firm against truth and facts. The exact number he told the New York Daily News, he thought 10,000 Gazans died in 2014. It turns out, according to the United Nations, over 2,000 civilians were killed. Oh, shit, dude. Wow, Bernie Sanders really needs to apologize, dude. We only murdered 2,000 civilians, okay? According to the United Nations. What the fuck? That's completely inappropriate from Bernie to... Yikes, dude. Yikes, Sweaty. Not a good look, dude. He's gonna get fucking canceled for this, I think. The Palestinian militant group that governs over the Gaza Strip give a similar number, 1462. Israel has argued that the number of civilian deaths is likely lower. Yes, this is, by the way, when we saw the famous, what is it called? The night cinema or whatever, where Israelis would literally fucking camp on top of mountains with, like, couches to watch Gaza burn, literally, and celebrate while eating popcorn. What is it called? Sidet Cinema or something? The Siderat, yeah, Siderat Cinema. Look it up if you don't believe me. We've already fucking talked about it a million times. Yes, I am going over some of the same stuff that I talked about yesterday, okay?
We've been at this for a long time. This is the sheer propaganda that we always hear, Emily. This isn't about Hamas. This is about Israel. Israel provokes. Israel commits every crime you can imagine. Israel injures more than 300 worshippers, peaceful worshippers, this morning in Al-Aqsa Mosque. Israel evicts people of their homes, continues with its sheer violations of the very basic rights of people, and then they try to blame the react rather than the act. This must stop, and we must really visit the root causes of all this, and the root cause of all this is Israel's insistence on the very denial of people's basic rights. Tonight, as we speak, Emily, people are demonstrating in Palestine all over, including cities inside the green light in 48 Palestine, in Jaffa, in Haifa, in Nazareth. Why do you think people are demonstrating? They're fed up. They're fed up of their rights being denied. They're fed up of being pushed away. They're fed up of their homes being taken away.
So let's break that down bit by bit if we can. You see it very clearly. The Israelis think that Hamas are a radical terror group and that Palestinian officials use these holy times to incite violence. Was Hamas right to respond with rocket fire?
This isn't about Hamas. Hamas was not involved. There were tens of thousands.
They were when they fired rockets.
Hamas did not decide to evict people from their homes inside the occupied city of Jerusalem. East Jerusalem is occupied not according to my law only, but according to your law, according to the UK position, according to the United Nations. An occupation has...
That's an important distinction. Whenever people fucking bring up Hamas, remind them that, like, okay, Well, even without Hamas, what the fuck's going on in the West Bank then? Like, what's happening? Because that is whether Hamas exists or does not exist, whether violent retaliation, which, of course, like I said, is seen as a legitimate justification, a legitimizing force for Israeli militancy, whether that exists or not, does not change what is happening in the West Bank. Okay? And look no further than what is happening in the West Bank to understand the true goal here. Like, even if Hamas didn't fucking exist, okay, even if there were no rockets being lobbed into Israel, okay, it doesn't fucking change the reality for people living in the West Bank, where Israel just comes in and is like, sorry, we're bulldozing your house. This is my house now.
It has to be temporary.
Like, when they're fucking protesting peacefully at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, they get fucking brutalized. When they live in their houses, they get fucking brutalized and kicked away and pushed away. Okay? Because the reality, and I fucking hate to admit this, and I'm sorry, whether all of these Israeli Jews live in this region or not, the reality is the formation of the Israeli state is still built upon Palestinian oppression and Palestinian lives, okay? That is the casualty. That's the truth. Sorry, it's just the truth, okay? There are more ethical ways of dealing with it now than just to say, like, purge every fucking Israeli person from the region. And I know that people get mad at me when I bring this up, but ultimately, that is the reality, okay? That is the truth. The formation of the Israeli state is built upon Palestinian bloodshed. See, this, again, please, mods, clap the shit out of these Nazi fucks that come in here and think that this is a good, fucking opportunity to say some anti-Semitic ass, Nazi ass bullshit, okay? Hold the fuck up. That's completely ignoring the Jewish diaspora where Jews got yeeted out of their ancestral homelands. Okay. I'm going to repeat myself once again. The ethical way to allow Jews to have a homeland is not on the backs of Palestinians who were living there at the time. Okay? Unless you are talking about, like, the Jewish displacement in European countries as well. IDF, backed by the West, yeeted 700,000 indigenous, over 400 historic villages destroyed and done by terrorist militias, Irgun, Lehi, etc. Unless you're referencing the diaspora of, like, of Israelites. In which case, we need to... Okay. I have a consistent opinion on this, which, a lot of fucking radical little babies in the chat will fucking say, oh, that's based. But, like, that argument does not stand, especially if you're considering, like, the formation of so many different nation states. Unless you are talking about, like, Jews that were expelled, like, predating 1947, but not necessarily fucking 2,000 years ago. Anyway. If Native Americans come and take your house away today, what side are you on, America or Native Americans? These situations are much more complicated and not black and white. Yeah, no, that's the argument that I make about fucking New York and shit, okay? Like, that's literally the point. Wait, oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Does he mean, like Native Americans have a more legitimate stake to American land than that same fucking argument. You understand that, right? And I'm saying that the Palestinians are the indigenous population here. Unless you meant like the Israelis are the indigenous population and purging the Palestinians is the justifiable thing to do. But even in that circumstance, if Native Americans decided like, we're just going to start fucking, you know, blowing up different territories and start murdering American citizens, like you would not fucking stand on the side of the Native American cause. Okay? If like the traditional tribes that owned New York decided to like fucking start bombing New York and saying like you got to get the fuck out of your house, like if Native Americans somehow were able to develop superior firepower, build a fucking area on all of the currently tribe-owned lands, and decided to like I mean, it's an impossible comparison to make, but like Native Americans being Israel in this circumstance is unimaginable because of how much more disproportionately powerful Israel is than Palestinians. So in order to fucking draw up a comparison, Native Americans would have to have nuclear firepower and one of the largest and most powerful fucking militaries on the planet. And the people that they are fucking displacing in this circumstance would literally have to be not the United States of America, but like, I don't know, specifically a certain subsect like of the poorest percentage of Americans that absolutely zero people care to consider or save. Also, New York isn't building settlements on reservation land. Yeah, it's just like it is so fucking cruel. We're both indigenous to Israel, but that doesn't justify anything Israel's doing. Yeah, exactly. There must be a one-state solution with equal rights to Palestinians and Jews. Also, Palestinians need reparations. Do not let poverty create more division. Yeah, it's not going to happen, but that is the only ethical solution out of this. Anyway. Glenn Greenwald has some really good takes on this. What is going on? This is weirdly based. Guys, Glenn Greenwald has always had good takes on fucking Palestine. What do you mean?
Yesterday, Ned Price.
It's like literally the fucking reason why I always say that, or always tried to show a different side of Glenn Greenwald.
Spokesman for the U.S. State Department was asked by a reporter whether or not Palestinians have a right to self-defense. Here is part of his answer.
Broadly speaking, Saeed, we believe in the concept of self-defense. We believe it applies to any state.
You know, the Israelis killed 13 people just now, you know, including maybe 5 or 6 children. Do you condemn that? Do you condemn the killing of children?
Saeed,
I'm asking, do you condemn the...
Oh shit, I forgot to finish the BBC interview first.
And it has to respect the rules that govern occupation.
Sorry.
Israel has made...
Fuck! And I also have to run an ad. I keep fucking forgetting. Oh my god, dude. I'm sorry. Okay, listen. Whenever we talk about serious stories like this or serious things that are happening, I always fail to run an ad at the top of the hour, but I have to run it regardless, okay? So I'm going to do that right now. 60-second ad break. You already know the deal. If you don't want to fucking see the ads, you can subscribe. You can do it for free with a Twitch Prime. You can use an ad block or a VPN. Here's the ad now. And god damn it. Okay. For people who are saying like, what the fuck? Why are you running ads? You're fucking rich, you piece of shit. It's like, I have to. It is literally a contractual obligation.
Mockery of these rules, particularly the issue of population transfers, ethnic cleansing, apartheid. I'm sure you have read the Human Rights Report. Those people have researched Israeli policies over the last 2 years. Ask the experts, not Netanyahu. Netanyahu is flaming.
Of the settlements, but let's just try and understand this. Because Dori Gold, the former Israeli ambassador to the UN, has told us it was pre-planned by Hamas. The march had nothing to do with it. You wanted to make Israel look bad. Do you condemn the rocket attack?
God damn, dude. What the fuck?
March had nothing to do with the settlements.
Dude, fucking British media is poison, dude. What the fuck?
Netanyahu is flaming.
Of the settlements, but let's just try and understand this. Because Dori Gold, the former Israeli ambassador to the UN, has told us it was pre-planned by Hamas. The march had nothing to do with it. You wanted to make Israel look bad. Do you condemn the rocket attacks by Hamas?
Holy shit, dude. She's just like, I mean, I can't tell if she's just like relaying information there or she just snuck that in by being like the protests were or it was pre-planned by Hamas.
I condemn Israeli aggression. I mourn for the 20 people who were murdered in Gaza only tonight. 9 of them are children. I am so sad to see the hundreds of my people
But you know,
being...
sorry, not asking about Israeli aggression. I will do that in a moment. I'm asking you about...
We'll talk about Israeli aggression in a moment. Don't worry. I mean, yeah. Let's not talk about that, dude.
Hamas's aggression tonight.
I am not aware of any Israeli who has been killed. And you ask me a question about violence and condemnation. Who should be condemned, Emily? Who should be condemned? Did you see the images of the 9 children being dissipated in Gaza tonight? Who should be condemned? And then the UK Foreign Secretary is quick to condemn Hamas and never to condemn the Israeli atrocities on a daily basis. We are sick and tired of the double standards, and we have to call it right this time. Call a spade a spade.
Is it the Western governments? Is it? You heard the statement from Dominic Raab today. He condemned the firing of rockets. What is your response to the UK government?
Always the story begins when Palestinian reaction happens, as if it started with Hamas. Look at your question. Your question is about Hamas, rockets.
But that's because I'm talking to you.
No, Emily. I
Ambassador.
have done many interviews. It starts with the Palestinian reaction, with the symptom of the illness. It never visits the illness. The illness is that this state, Israel, the occupying state, has been applying draconian measures against our people in every sense, depriving them the right to move, the right to own their property, the right to work, the right to vote in a free elections, including
starving them, creating an apartheid system with the sole purpose of the apartheid system not even making any like fucking capitalist motivation to like abuse and use and enslave, but to literally displace and cleanse the area of that indigenous population. So that is an important distinction here that also needs to be said. Whenever you say like, well, what the fuck? Like, why don't Palestinians fucking do something about it? It's like, there's nothing that they can do about it if the ultimate goal is that you are going to be ethnically cleansed from the region. You can't even fucking leave. If you leave, where are you going to go? Like, you can't vote. You can't do shit. You're constantly under surveillance. And then they take your homes away. Like, what are you supposed to do?
including in East Jerusalem, every right you can imagine, and not only by the way inside the occupied territories, but even inside Israel itself. There is a Knesset law that has deprived our people inside Israel their basic rights of having self-determination. This whole system has been built. Endemic in it is the racism, endemic in it is the vulgar ultra-nationalism. That's why you get people trying to defend their dignity. And that's why, if you see the images, don't listen to me, look at the footage. People were praying. And by the way, put aside the Aqsa Mosque, one sentence. Put aside the Aqsa Mosque. Only last week, it was the Holy Fire, Easter, and the Israeli authorities prevented Palestinian Christians.
Because you're not debating, I'm going to put to you
from praying. So this isn't about Muslims. This isn't about. This is about Palestinians. This is about Israel insisting that we are second-class, not even citizens. We have no rights. We are ought to be brutalized with silence. And when we act with dignity, when we resist this, the whole thing becomes about our resistance and our struggle.
And I understand very much those underlying issues. Let me ask you specifically about the Al-Aqsa Mosque, because that's not something that you will debate tonight for obvious reasons. Israeli police say they believe it was being used as a military stronghold. That was why they started sending in their stun grenades. What is your response to that?
It's nonsense. It's nonsense. My response to that is ask the Red Cross, ask all the international observers there. People were going in the holiest of months.
Guys, you don't understand. They were praying and trying to build a prayer laser, okay? They were praying to Allah so that Allah would strike the Israelis down with the God powers that Allah has, and that's a genuine threat. So that's why you have to. They're all faith builds. Palestinians, bad spawn point, but very good faith build. They get plus 10. They get plus 10. Godly alts. The prayer lasers is something that you really have to comprehend. You have to be there to see it. Also, of course, the pebble, the stone toss is the weapon of the Palestinian. Very, very powerful. I mean, just no match for the Israeli guns and all of the other fucking weapons that the Israeli Defense Force uses.
It's Ramadan, in the holiest night of Ramadan, Laylat al-Qadr, they were there to pray. If you look at the images, the Israeli soldiers stormed Al-Aqsa Mosque while they were praying, while they were kneeling, and started throwing all the gas and stun grenades and what have you, brutalizing people. Look at the numbers. Look at the hundreds who have been injured. And therefore, this whole propaganda should not work. Israel is deliberately trying to flare the situation, especially politicians, right-wing extreme politicians, to dodge criminal charges that is Netanyahu facing and to feed the populism.
Yeah, defense force, more like occupying force, obviously. Yes.
Israel
Stop
right
getting
now,
fucking mad at me. Like, what do you want me to say, motherfucker? I can't believe, I can't believe people would get mad at me for saying like the IDF's like full name after I've spent the past 2.5 fucking hours literally talking about Israel as an occupying force and committing ethnic cleansing. Like, that's great, dude. Yeah, no. I love the fucking aesthetics focused motherfuckers on this issue right now. You really caught me.
Right-wing extremists.
Thanks. Anyway, ballsy of Palestine to keep with the faith built after it all. It fell out of the meta, but they'll have the last laugh when the golden age kicks in. Yeah. Yeah, it was a military stronghold, boys. They were doing prayer. They were doing prayer, but they were doing prayer in a very menacing way. Okay, so you just don't understand it. Okay, it's also important to recognize that fascists who also hate Jews love Israel because they can remove the Jews from their country to Israel, plus Israel killing Muslims. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And they were channeling a spirit bomb, boys, so shit's gonna happen. Here are rockets. Here are the wait, is this the one? Here's some Iron Dome footage that I wanted to show you guys because there are more fucking rockets being fired on Israel currently from Hamas from the Gaza Strip. This is what the Iron Dome looks like, by the way, for those of you who have never seen it. So those bombs, or the rockets that are flying over Israel, immediately get intercepted by surface-to-air missiles, the Israeli surface-to-air missiles, and then they blow them up. Yeah, I think Cenk had a take on this, where he said, Cenk had a take on this, where he said, why don't we pay for the Iron Dome, which we do, and it's fucking badass, and it's great. I'm glad that something like that exists. It's great. Why don't we give an Iron Dome to the Gaza Strip? Let's just give Gaza an Iron Dome as well. Okay? And then our American paid missiles that Israel is using will fucking launch missiles at the American paid Iron Dome on the Gaza Strip, and the American paid Iron Dome Gaza Strip missiles will intercept the American paid Israeli missiles, and then in retaliation, the Gazan missiles that fly over Israel will be intercepted by the American paid Iron Dome missiles that are $40,000 a pop. Profit. Less people die. America profits. Infinite money glitch. Let's go, boys. We should get Raytheon on the call real quick. Iron Dome barely works, lol. Dude, that is such an idiotic fucking take. If it has a 90% efficiency rating. Motherfucker, are you crazy? It barely works? 90% success rate for missile interception, and you say barely works, dude? Are you fucking insane? We just watched like 6 fucking rockets get clapped like that. Yeah, it's like the same fucking take on COVID vaccines, you know? Solidarity to the people of Palestine who are being attacked and hunted by the genocidal Israeli apartheid regime, as the Biden regime remains silent and keeps providing it with massive military aid and diplomatic cover. See this thread for more details on the horrific violence imposed on the Palestinians by the genocidal Israeli apartheid state. Today marks the 18th anniversary of Rachel Corrie's murder by an Israeli soldier who intentionally crushed her to death with a bulldozer for the crime of trying to stop the demolition of Palestinian homes. She barely gave her life to help others. She was only 23.
97% of Gaza's drinking water is unfit for human consumption. Unfit for human consumption. That should resonate with an American audience at any rate.
Oh my God. There are currently 4 Israeli casualties. In addition to most of the casualties in Gaza are due to failed Hamas launches. Dude, that is fucking... You're such a piece of shit, dude. Fuck you, dude. Absolutely fuck yourself, okay? Like, dude, that's so fucked up, dude. That is so fucked up. It's just fucking bullshit, dude. Oh my God. Hook, line, and sinker with the fucking psychotic propaganda. Nah, dude. It's Hamas actually fucking blowing up their own bases, dude, and killing the Palestinians, bro. I promise, bro. Trust me. The Israeli fucking bombs that are literally taking down entire 13-story apartments, like, that's actually just... That's just a gift, you know? They're just delivering hand-wrapped gifts to Gaza in the form of rockets. They wanted to demolish those buildings, you know what I'm saying? Also made up the number. Like, Israel's numbers are not 7 people died. This was the Iron Dome in full force earlier with over 100 rockets. Oh, here. Here, you want to see the Iron Dome not working, motherfucker? Look at the Iron Dome not working, boys. Check this out. Hundreds of rockets flying over. Let's take a look. RPG rocket propelled gifts. Yeah. Man, it's just like, look at that barely defense system, dude. Man, it's not even working, boys. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy how little that works, dude. Yeah, I mean, it is fucking cool. It is cool. It is cool that, like, defensive systems like this exist, okay? But, I mean, yeah. Like, it's so fucking, it's so, you know, it's so barely working that motherfuckers literally are laughing and filming outside. Like, that's how barely it's working, dog. That, like, Are we just seeing the Israeli interceptors, or can we see the Palestinian rockets too in those vids? I'm confused. No, the ones that are blowing up in the air are Palestinian rockets that are being intercepted by Israeli Iron Dome rockets. But the reality is, like, I feel like there's so many fucking Iron Dome rockets that, like, I don't even know if those are literally Iron Dome rockets hitting other Iron Dome rockets at this point. Not Palestinian, sorry. Hamas rockets. You're right. Your point stands, but that last one was the Iron Dome just intercepting itself. Each Iron Dome rocket costs $40,000. Yeah, dude. This is the Iron Dome not working. What is it? Oh my god, these dudes are literally just fucking laughing, dude. I just wanted to see if there was anything TOS. Look at this. This is in Holon, where one of the rockets that did not get intercepted. This is what happened. I'm not going to show you everything, just the like Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Anyway, Mindscale had a good point. $100 mortar takes a $40,000 missile to blow up. Seems like not a very cool system at all. Very cool when, you know, the manufacturers are getting paid. There's a trickle down, boys. This is how the military industrial complex works, brother. $100 mortar requires a $40,000 a pop missile. That missile needs to be fucking, there's R&D costs baked into that missile. There's the building of that missile. There's the material collection to create that missile. There is the training that you need to subject people to be able to operate the fucking Iron Dome system. Like that, you're feeding a lot of mouths that way. Nobody talks about the importance of understanding exactly how much money goes into the creation and the continuation of these sorts of systems. It's just like, yeah. Think about it like building credit, boys, or like buying a house, as I was describing earlier. You're not just like going and being like, here's the cash. Thank you, homeowner. Now this is my home. You go to a fucking a real estate agent on the buyer side. There's a real estate agent on the seller side. There's a mortgage broker that goes to the banks. Then those banks are gonna have an entire fucking group of dedicated individuals that look through and comb through your fucking credit score to make sure that you get absolutely properly fucked as a consequence of ever trying to get a loan from a bank to purchase a home. Like, there's so many mouths that you're feeding. Think about it. In that video, the bomb goes off, and there's a guy still eating his food.
It's not so long ago that there was a national outcry and indignation over Flint.
How is that old Iraq War quote go? A Stinger missile is shot by a guy who doesn't make its price in a year at a guy who doesn't make its price in his lifetime. Yeah. My friend was a Marine Corps, I think like battalion commander of a missile that literally was never fired in the entire fucking war when he was deployed. Like, literally never actually fired at something because the combatants that they were fucking engaging with did not have helicopters. So they just sent them out there with, like, I think it was a Stinger missile, right? Or is a Stinger missile a surface-to-air one? Like, it's portable? It is stingers, right? Yeah. Like, yeah, exactly. So he's like, yeah, we would, we just had Stinger missiles. And they were just running around with the wrong loadout, brother. Literally, or a javelin, maybe? I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter, though. I don't remember. But, like, yeah, no healthcare for you, but fucking missiles that are specifically designed to fight against, air attacks, like helicopters and shit like that, when the enemy literally does not have a fucking, it does not have a helicopter that you can use it against. No, I'm not talking about the anti-tank one. This is a surface-to-air one.
Michigan, when it was found that the water supply was contaminated.
Senate report estimates the U.S. investment in Iron Dome production since fiscal year 2011 to be over $1 billion.
But here it's not one city. It's the whole of Gaza. What does that mean practically? Well, I'd like to quote Sarah Roy at Harvard Center for Middle Eastern Studies, who's considered the leading academic authority on Gaza's economy. I will mention, though I'm averse to playing the Holocaust card, but Sarah's parents, both of them, were in Auschwitz, and she's a practicing Jew, not a Jew by fortune or whim of fate. She's a practicing Jew. Both of her parents were in Auschwitz, and she came out with a new edition recently of her standard work on Gaza's economy, and she has some additional chapters, introduction, conclusion, in the book.
I hope you know your chat is craving death for Jews no matter their stance on this take and want Israeli Jews to be driven into the sea. No, dude. It seems like a very normal way to live your life this way. Yeah. Definitely, literally live your life deathly afraid of people that don't want to fucking do this to you, including other Jews who have this point of view that like what Israel is doing is unethical. No, that seems like an actually fucking normal way to survive, dude. Seriously. Normal and good way to fucking survive. Every time a sick anti-Semitic fuck says some shit in here, I literally ban them and I make a public showing of it, like a public execution. But no, it's fine, dude. No, keep imagining things where no such things exist. I'm not even saying that fucking anti-Semitism isn't a real problem. It certainly is. I've talked for a very long time about the heart of all conspiracy theories, always going back to anti-Semitism. But really great take for you to like literally try to create an issue where it does not exist and literally gets fucking it is quickly addressed if anyone says such a psychopathic thing. Yeah, of course. No, all that to fucking justify your current iteration of genocide. I understand. Instead of coming to terms with the government, with what your government, if you are Israeli, is doing to Palestinian people, just fucking say, oh, everyone just wants to murder the Jews all over the place right now, including your chat. Great. Good stuff. You must imagine Zionists have to go 100 on this POV. Yeah, the only way you can justify your acts of fucking ethnic cleansing is by having this insane fucking worldview. And by the way, for the record, for all of you who are like maybe blinded by propaganda your entire lives, okay, and you are for the first time ever hearing like a different point of view from someone who you respect, but are otherwise shocked by because you're like a progressive person, but you've never heard a different point of view on Israel-Palestine. Well, let me tell you this much. What that guy and the idea that that person represents is absolutely no different than the white supremacists who are incredibly fearful of black people and of brown people, okay? White people that are racist and white supremacists believe that black people's existence is a threat to their own, okay? That's why they find such violent and gruesome acts against people of color to be justifiable. So remember that. That comparison absolutely exists in this in this situation as well. Bernie finally gives a take. He says, I'm extremely concerned by the growing conflict in Israel and Palestine. Once again, we are seeing how irresponsible actions of government-allied right-wing extremists in Jerusalem can escalate into devastating war. Israeli children should not have to spend the night scared in bomb shelters. Many are doing tonight. Palestinian children should not have to grow up under the constant violence and oppression of occupation so many do and have done. The United States must call for an immediate ceasefire and end to provocative and illegal settlement activity, and we must also recommit to working with Israelis and Palestinians to finally end this conflict. Bernie Sanders was the only fucking dude who, out of all of the people running for president, straight up went on national television and literally fucking said, I'm going to take every fucking dollar back from Israel if they continue their bloodshed and their endless fucking occupation. And for that, of course, he's not a real Jew, obviously. I mean, obviously. Come on. Not a real Jew, right? Yeah. Because, you know, he has this take, obviously.
It's not anti-Semitic to be critical of a right-wing government in Israel. That is not anti-Semitic.
What if Hamas didn't exist? What if the Palestinians were 100% peaceful? Wouldn't Israel then be unjustified in committing these atrocities? Motherfucker, Israel is still unjustified in committing these atrocities, even with the existence of Hamas. Did I stutter when I said that? I've literally never fucking taken... I am not... Israel is completely unjustifiably doing such horrific acts of violence against Palestinian people, regardless of the fucking formation of Hamas and the roots of Hamas leadership or the beneficial structure that Hamas's existence gives to Israeli militants. Okay, the militant Israeli motherfuckers who are reactionary and want to do ethnic cleansing. Nothing Palestinians can do will stop Israel from doing what the fuck they want to do. Okay? It's up to you to believe that propaganda. You get it? It's up to you to believe that propaganda of like Hamas's existence is the reason. Oh, really? Hamas's existence is the reason why you're literally displacing thousands of Palestinians from the West Bank? I didn't realize that Hamas's existence was contributing to that settler terrorism. I didn't realize that. Oh man, sorry, Hamas exists, so I have to fucking murder your children. Sorry, because that's Israel's fucking justification for it. It's literally a response to it. Yeah, no, totally, dude. Totally, you're right. Yeah. It's a response to Hamas existing in Gaza to fucking occupy the Western Bank. It's a response to Hamas's existence that they had to fucking take over the entirety of Jerusalem or try to. That's a response to Hamas's existence that like when people are fucking praying at Al-Aqsa that they have to go in with gases and gas bombs and fucking rubber bullets and beat the shit out of people praying on one of the holiest fucking nights in Islam, in one of the holiest sites of Islam. Really, dude? No, Hamas is retaliatory in its actions against unjustifiable Israeli violence. Okay? But even then, it doesn't fucking matter. Whether they exist or not exist literally does not matter. The only thing that Hamas's existence and continued fucking rocket attacks does is create an environment where Israel will spend more on defense weapons and manufacturing of that sort, and also justify all of the militant and horrific actions that they take against Palestinians. I'm sure you prayed that night. /J. What? Hamas' existence is a red herring. Fatah agreed to the Oslo Accords 30 plus years ago, but Hamas didn't even exist yet, and yet Israel besieged Gaza and West Bank. Like, when you say that Hamas is using kids as meat shields, okay? When you say Hamas is using kids as meat shields, you're literally dehumanizing the fucking babies that you're murdering by saying we're doing the murder, but it's because Hamas is forcing us to do the murder. I'm sorry. There's no way. We have to do the murder. Well, here's one way that you can do it. Don't do the murder. Israel isn't responsible for Gaza. Hamas is. And even so, Israel still provides Gaza daily with food, clean water, electricity, medicine, construction materials, and more. Genocide, by the way. Dude, these are incredible takes, dude. Listen, boys, we gave the indigenous population blankets, okay? So we can fucking rape and murder them. Dog, that's how it works. Don't you fucking understand, dude? Don't you get it, dude? Some Israelis gave food to Gazans so that they can end up being well fed when an Israeli rocket blows their fucking entire family away, dude. Come on. What you don't understand is those $40,000 a pop rockets are, as a matter of fact, rockets full of helpful supplies, dude. That's how it works.
And she says at one point, and I'm quoting her now, innocent human beings, most of them young, are slowly being poisoned by the water they drink.
This map has a lot of problems. This is one that goes around quite frequently, but it actually has a lot of issues, the map alone. Like, this was never a fucking thing. It was just the plan. And it also doesn't fucking show what Israel did to Palestinian territories as well. I mean, it looks good on its face, but I was told growing up the Palestine attacked Israel often, did suicide bombing and other stuff, so basically they have it coming. Yeah. Some of my relatives support Israel because they think Palestine is a Muslim country. Is it even worth debating them about? I mean, I don't know what I don't know what you can say to that then. That shows exactly what you say. What is this? Oh, fuck. Hold on. I don't want to. Oh, here. Oh, yeah. This is like the Israeli occupation soldiers assaulting Palestinians at the Damascus Gate in Jerusalem. Eyes on Palestine is a good account for this sort of stuff. I'm surprised that they haven't been banned by Instagram yet, with how censorious a lot of American social media, a lot of social media has been. Utterly shameful of Yang to try to show up to an aid event after sending out a chest-thumping statement of support for a strike killing 9 children, especially after his silence as Al-Aqsa was attacked. But then to try that in Astoria during Ramadan, they will let you know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he thought he could get away with that shit. Nice of fucking AOC to blast him, though.
And likely by the soil in which they plant. Innocent human beings.
I really don't understand how a chat full of leftists don't see the power discrepancy between Israel and Palestine. Meanwhile, if there was this kind of power discrepancy in a consensual relationship that was screech problematic, how the fucking chat sympathize with a far more powerful aggressor? Because of what they've been educated on their entire lives. If all you've known is justification for violent actions against what you have no humanity for, what you've never seen a humane side to, then of course and it's happening far away, and it's happening to a scary group of aggressors, okay? And the people that are being attacked in that propaganda are like historically marginalized peoples, like Jewish people. Then it creates a fucking perfect ecosystem where you're just like, oh well, I see anti-Semitism. I don't like anti-Semitism. I think that is unacceptable. I'm a progressive person, and all I've heard is that like these are, you know, homophobic, anti-LGBT, scary Muslims. That also plays a role, obviously, like the fear-mongering and Islamophobia that you've seen as a justification for what happened after 9/11 is also playing a role here in legitimizing the actions of Israel against Palestinians. You just don't, you dehumanize Muslims consistently. You see them as enemy combatants no matter where you go. And then ultimately, you are going to see the pro-LGBT ally of the United States as the righteous and just side in this conflict, no matter how fucking powerful and how asymmetrical their and disproportionate their reaction or actions are, that actually drives a asymmetrical and much less powerful reaction to their original horrifying actions. Also, I would say that this community, since yesterday, has absolutely fucking changed their POV dramatically. There was a lot more. There were a lot more people fucking screeching earlier, and now have changed their tone or definitely see a different side of things. What is Hamas, and why are people saying that they are the ones who killed Palestinian kids, not Israel? Those people are fucking assholes. You're 100% right, but you shouldn't downplay the struggle LGBTQ people face in many Muslim majority countries. That's really interesting that you say that to as a white LGBT person. I assume you're LGBT in America, to a fucking Turkish person who is very progressive and literally comes from a majority Muslim country, who has LGBT friends, who understands the struggle that like progressive LGBT Muslim Turks go through, for example, in a majority Muslim country. Wait, hold on. What is a good way to do? What is a good way to deal with that? I don't know. Maybe fucking LGBT Muslims could have an easier time trying to change their own country if they weren't first and foremost focused on not getting eviscerated by American bombs. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. It's really, really a great way to fucking deal with, Muslims being bad towards other LGBT Muslims, for example, is by murdering all of them. Equality in bombing literally both the gay Muslims and the straight Muslims. All of them equally. This is how you're supposed to do it. Just wipe them all out.
The killing of Palestinian children.
Obviously, and these reports are just emerging, and I understand, I was just speaking to the team, I understand we don't have independent confirmation of facts on the ground yet, so I'm very hesitant to get into reports that are just emerging.
Journalist Glenn Greenwald, he joins us now to discuss. Glenn, can you just lay out the facts on the ground exactly, or what is happening? Started with a settlement dispute, now it's been escalating. What's happening exactly?
Well, I think the key fact that you always have to begin with when talking about Israel and Palestine is that Israel has been occupying Palestinian territory for decades now. The West Bank, obviously, but also Gaza. Even though they pulled out troops, they control the airspace, they control the border, they control the sea lanes, they control everything about Gazan life. So Israel is an occupying power in the Palestinian territories in a way that the UN has ruled is illegal. So they're not just occupiers, but illegal occupiers. So how is it possible to even talk about self-defense when you're talking about a military that is occupying another country? It would be like if, the Chinese army invaded the United States, and then when Americans fought back, the Chinese would say, we're just engaged in self-defense on American soil. The whole framework makes no sense. But so that's always the context. Mm-hmm. And aside from the huge power differential, which is that you're talking about an extremely powerful military, which is Israel, largely as a result of billions of dollars every year that get transferred in American taxpayer money to the Israelis so that they can buy weaponry, some of which is from American manufacturers, others of which are not, combined with a population that use stones and primitive rockets. So there's a huge power differential as well between the two sides. And the latest quote-unquote skirmishes are happening because in East Jerusalem, which under international law and every single accord that has ever been presented is Palestinian territory, more and more settlers are making incursions, and they're trying to evict Palestinians from their homes that they've been in for decades in order to make way for even further Israeli settlements, on top of which there was a incursion into one of the holiest mosques in all of Islam by the Israeli military that obviously is a huge accelerant to the tensions as well. What religion in the world would accept that? What people in the world would accept an occupation of this barbarism in this duration?
And hundreds of Palestinians were injured in those clashes. In that exchange that we played, the reporter there says, the Israelis have killed 5 or 6 children. It's turned out reports suggest that 9 children have been killed. I think 24 dead. I think there are 2 Israelis who've been killed by Palestinians as well. What did you make of that whole exchange, Glenn? Because there's been some conversation about how, lockstep support for bipartisan support for Israel, that's changing. There's a rethink happening. This exchange sounded exactly like every administration that we have heard before.
Exactly like every administration we've ever heard before. It's like nothing at all has changed. And you look at Ned Price and that.
Would it be fair to compare Hamas to the Black Panthers? I don't know if the American government actually fucking gave money to the Black Panthers in a way that the Black Panthers would be this like radical fucking over the top, I guess, Christian or Islamist in this sense organization as a fucking counterweight to other left-leaning and leftist liberation movements specifically, and like literally play a fundamental role in building out the structure and legitimacy for this fringe ass fucking far right movement, then yeah, you could compare that. Except no, that didn't fucking happen. So because the Black Panthers were not like that. You are wrong sometimes. Okay, thanks. Not for sale 69. One problem, do you know half these Muslim Arab countries and people living in Gaza Strip would be shot pro LGBT people on site, whereas it's illegal in Israel? Dude, you are such a fucking delusional psycho. Literally ask any fucking gay LGBT Muslim person whether they would rather fucking like want the actual fucking bombs that are killing them to stop or not, okay? Before you have this conversation. So liberation and autonomy can only happen if there isn't a fucking unified front against an oppressor, against an enemy. Okay? So that's why Western interference in Muslim nations, Western interference literally creates a power vacuum and creates gives legitimacy to fucking reactionary fundamentalist movements. Okay? The most like insane liberal fucking take. I hate this. I hate how idiotic Western libs will have this psychopathic approach like, oh no, dude, these people can't help themselves, so we're going to